Right, we're on with another project, and I'm just gathering together all sorts of bits. I've got a couple of car wheels here and tyres, 13-inch, that's alright, and they have a reasonable sized hole in the middle of the rim. We have a about 4-inch piece of box section, reasonably heavy, and an 1.5-inch piece of box section, and a piece of 3-inch water pipe, and then we have this bit of 6-inch pipe. So let's just see what we can do with this lot. I'm just going to move the camera back a bit. Right, okay, that bit of box section fits on there. That will fit in there and rotate. Good. A short length of that will fit just there and get welded on, like about that long. That's pretty good actually, that's pretty amazing. Okay, so we have a wheel with some sort of bearing housing. It's not going to move very far, so it doesn't matter. About 4 inches long will do. This can get cut in half, and one half on this end, one half on that end, with it stuck out about that far. Yep. So this tube then goes on there, and we'll put a little bit of steel there to stop that bearing running that way, and we'll drill a hole through there just to drop a bolt through. So then effectively it's an axle. Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, it'll only move about 100 yards maybe in the whole of its life. I was thinking about this round, but I was thinking it's more of a pain to fix it on there, because then you have to cut some bits of angle iron either side and weld it on and what have you. Whereas actually this, if I wanted to, I could drill a hole there and a hole there and transfer the holes through and then bolt it on. Because this is galvanised, so I'd have to grind the galvanised off. So maybe that's a better alternative, and that'd be 4 bolts about 2.5 inches long. That'll do, and they don't need to be that big. So we have that axle. Are we still in view? Yeah, I think we are. Right, so the next thing we've got, I'll just move this gas cylinder out the way. That will be for, there's a bit of gas left in it, and that will be for the next firing of the pottery kiln. So then we have this lump of steel that sits on there. Okay, so that could be welded on there, right? And then this, that could be notched round there, like that. So I think the idea would there, offer that up, do a chalk line the other side, and cut a notch out the bottom so it sits round this. So then we have an axle with a main beam going that way. Can you see where I'm going? Yeah. And then a couple of uprights and a rail. We're getting there. I've got to think about that. Do I want the axle at the end, or do I want this to continue over? Yes, that's quite a difficult one. if I wanted it to come over, then I'd have to use a piece of that channel. Yeah. The channel can probably go in the power hacksaw, whereas this I would have cut it with the big angle grinder. And then yeah. And if I did use the channel here as a base, then this could stick over a bit further this way. But do we want the wheel, we want the axle right at the end or not? I think right at the end. Yeah. That'll do. That'll be about right. So we just need to cut that. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll cut this about here so that then it sits over this and extends a bit further over. So if I wanted to extend this, at least I can do. Yeah, that would work well. Right. Interesting. Just get the bits that I've got knocking about and start putting them together. I think cut some 4-inch lumps off that 2.5, 3-inch pipe, and then weld them onto those wheel bosses, and that's a good start. It doesn't matter if they wobble a bit. So that'll be that, and then cut that in half, that 1.5-inch box section, and drill some holes in it, one at the end and then 2 near the other end, so then I can bolt those to that piece of 4-inch box section. That's a good start. Right, let's crack on with that. Right, well that is just tapped in there, and I'm using this square that I got from Uncle Harold. It's touching the top and there's about 6mm at the bottom, touching the top and there's about 8mm, about 6mm. It's because this is higher than that. Okay, so we just need to go a little bit like that. Yeah. Tap that the wrong way. Yeah. Right, so now we can weld round there. So I'll just crack on with that and do the other one, and then we've got the wheel sorted. Okay, there we go. That's welded in place. So now it's a matter of cutting this piece of box section in half and drilling some holes. I'll just have to work out how long the overhang is of this box section from this box section. Okay, here's my favourite drill. Okay, that's those drilled out. So I need to take that drill and then put it in a in my rebuilt AEG cordless, of which I did a battery rebuild only a couple of videos ago, and we'll drill some holes in that big box section. Well, the breeze has got up, but we'll just have to put up with that. Just little mark it enough. Oh well. Right, need a pilot drill now. Just there. Come on, you devil. There you go. Excellent. That'll do nicely. So that goes on there. Wrong way around. That goes on there. Let's get some bolts. Okay. So we put that in there. Wrong size washer, never mind. Okay. Put a packer on that bolt. Try and find the hole. We're nowhere near it. There we go. Okay. There we go. Could do with some better washers. Let's just go and see if I can get some. But you got the idea. Just far enough in so I could reach. Okay. So we'll just just need a blob of weld somewhere, just to stop the wheels running back too far. Now I'll need to block these up somehow. The sharp-eyed of you will realise that this post had a closed end on it. So I just cut it off. There we go. So we just need to mark that. Okay, that's the mark. And I've cut another piece of that tube, and so that can go there, and I can just tack that in place. And I'll do the same on the other end. And just looking at this wheel whilst we're there, see how that piece of tube fits so nicely? Yeah, perfect. Right, let's just crack on. Just put some grease on there. And why not? There we go. Well, that's up against that wooden block. But, and then drop the pin through. That's a start, and there's plenty of weight there. So now it's a matter of notching this 6-inch or maybe 7-inch tube. Right, let's sort out this notch. Well, this has got to notch over that, and that is 4-inch. So let's go 5.5. Okay, and what I want to do, I want to make sure that that doesn't roll. Okay, that's good. That's greasy there, so okay, that's that, and it's this piece that wants to be removed. Okay, now how I think a piece of tape might do that job. So let's just define that with the blue chalk. And I'm going on the lower side of that pencil line. Okay, so how are we going to, maybe a piece of tape, maybe a square of some form. So let's have a look. Okay, so that wants to line up there. Okay, tape measure. and that is 5 3/4. So 5 3/4 is there, and that needs to go on that pencil line. And then I think a piece of masking tape will define that. Okay, let's get some masking tape. Right, let's just see if we can do this. That's in line with that. Well, that might be right. So I'm going to cut down there, across there and down there with the angle grinder, and you don't need to see that. And hopefully we'll get a notch that sits over that 4-inch beam, as it were, axle. Right, I'll get back to you shortly. There we go. Obviously that just needs to be centered between the two wheels, and maybe just a little bit of fettling just round there, but that looks pretty good. And then on top of that, where are we? On top of there we'll have an upright. Right, it's another day and we just got a little bit there. Just need to grind a bit there and a bit there just for this to sit down properly. So I'll just do that. Right, I set the power hacksaw to work on these, and it took quite a while because some of this round here is at least 1/2 inch thick. We've got this level this way, although that's not truly necessary, and I've levelled it there, and I'm going to take this off and just grind this coating off. And then I can clamp these in place and tack them in place, and then flip this over like that so I can get in and weld that. Yeah, so I'm not trying to weld upside down. Right, I'm going to crack on with that. We're at a slight angle, but that is right. Right, before we go charging ahead, I thought I'd better just get a bit of footage. So this crossbar here will at some point take those one either side to stabilize it all once it's in place. Yeah, and then we've got this upright. Okay, and over here where that other plate is down there, we'll have another upright. Okay, and where are we? It's pretty windy today again. On the top of this we'll have something like, and I'll use the level as an example, but it won't be this long. Something like, perhaps about, it'll stick out that far and about this far. So it'll be like that. Okay? And then on the end here there'll be a piece of angle iron with the flat there and the down there, and the opposite up here with the flat going upwards and the down like that. So, and then the panels will clamp on that. So we're gonna, it's relatively short because we're only going to put 2 panels on this, and they're 370 watt panels, and they're 1050 wide, 1.005 wide, and the rails will be, I've just dug this out of stock, so that is 30mm, looks like 30mm angle iron, and it's fairly thick, so I think that will do nicely. We're sort of getting a plan together, but one of the problems is we're running low on box section, so I'm going to have to weld 2 bits together for the other upright, but that's fine because we can. But I've got an idea and a plan, yeah, which is great. And then of course at the front there, at some point sticking out the front will be the tow bar. It's using what you've got, yeah, the stuff you've collected over years, like this big lump of tube here. It must have been sat underneath that hedge there for a good 8 or 9 years on a couple of blocks. Yeah, I think it's the bottom of a big street lamp pole. Get it used. It's nice and robust, and one of the beauties is all the weight is fairly low. And once everything's in place, if I need to, I can put some extra weight like old tyres or dead engines or concrete blocks or something. But I don't think I'll need to with these stabilisers here. A stabiliser at this end and a stabiliser over there as well. And of course they lift out for transport. Right, I'm going to crack on. You really don't need to see all this construction. It's the ideas that's the important bit. Okay, things is moving on rapidly. Yeah, I've even put some paint on. But these rails here, the top and bottom one, they were identical length, but they were actually a bit short. So I've had to, you can just about see there. I had to put a little bit extra on each one before I weld them in place. But considering I'm working on my own, This is quite an interesting technique. To hold this in place, basically I put a clamp like that, clamped it here and set it so that this rested on there, and then I had a clamp in there. Can we see? Yeah, we can see. Then a clamp in there, and as I put this in, I could clamp that there. The top one wasn't so bad because you've got gravity working for you, but the bottom, gravity was against you. So a clamp either end to set the height, and then a clamp from there to there. A bit fiddly, but these really helped. So there we go, we're nearly there. I don't know how many, this has had 2 coats of red lead, red oxide primer. I'll probably give the frame itself, this top frame, a coat of whatever gloss paint I've got, or whatever various tins of gloss paint I've got mixed together. And then I've got to put a tow bar on the front there. Just a piece of 2x1 welded in place with a hole of about 3/4 of an inch in it. That'll do. If I can get round to it, I might even attach a jack, but it's not that necessary because it doesn't get moved very much. So there we go. And then of course it's a matter of fitting the panels, wiring it up. Now there's a slight offset with this. These here extend over a bit further than the other end, so I'm going to probably fit the inverter on this pole here. So it'll be welding a bracket on and then bolting the inverter bracket on, and then hooking the inverter on, and then working out the wiring, which isn't difficult. You've seen it in my other videos. And there we go. Then I can put this in place. We don't need this at the moment, apart from today, which is a bit heavy cloud. But normally in the summer, longish days, we don't really need this, but it won't be long. Right, let's just get cracked on with this. I'm just tidying up now because it's the end of the day. Well, here we go. 2 times 375 watt panels in series. Yeah, looks fairly tidy. You can't see the inverter because it's underneath the far right panel. Let's go and have a look. So I put a jack there, just welded it in place. That's just one that I'd collected at some point. And here's the inverter, a Solace, and it has a start of 60 volts, but it runs down to 50 volts. So I'll just show you the label. There we go, you see, 50 to 500 volts, 600 volts maximum, max current 12 amps. There you go, 1100 watts. Yeah. Okay, and let's just see what it's doing. The sun has just gone in behind a bit of cloud, but that's besides the point. There we go, and you see it's locked now. Unlocked, locked. So when it's locked it won't keep scrolling, but let's go up. So the grid voltage is 242. Right, and we're on 67 volts on the DC input. Yeah, at 0.4 of an amp. No, 4 amps, sorry. So we must be see there, it's got an export setting. There we go. There, 230. Right. So there's the details of one of the panels. You can read through that at your leisure. And the wiring is fairly simple. That far one goes all the way along there, joins down there along to that one, and then the two middle ones, yeah, they're long enough just to go straight to the inverter, so no extra extension cables required or anything like that. A nice neat little inverter under the shade of the panel. What's not to like, eh? And there it is ticking away. Yeah, and when the sun really comes out, yeah, theoretically these panels should produce more than 700 watts. There we are, 740, 760. Hopefully you can see that. I don't know, we've got some strange reflections on this at the moment. Never mind. Yeah, and then down to 200, 280, 430, 500, 550, 590, 680, 740, 760. Yeah, bright sunshine. There's the difference between cloud cover and bright sunshine. It was quite useful to see that gradient so quickly. Right, and of course, you know, it's sunny and raining at the same time, but hopefully you've enjoyed this mini series, and it just goes to show, with the right bits of scrap steel and a bit of incentive, and then a low voltage start inverter, you can do stuff. And this, as I said earlier on, this will be just perfect from, say, end of September through to early April, and then we won't need it. Then I can just sort of put it to one side until the next year. Maybe take the inverter off and put it in the shed. Anyway, comments please, and discussion and what have you. And if you haven't already, please subscribe, just to keep the YouTube numbers flowing. Yeah, just so to keep all these videos live, really. Cheers for now.